Hello guys, welcome back to Technical Alphus. Today I'm going to be taking you through web applications with ASP.NET. So please watch the video to the end and don't forget to subscribe. The channel name is Technical Alphus. So let's get started. The first and foremost thing we're going to do, we're going to create our interface with Visual Studio. So you have to have Visual Studio installed. You have to have MySQL command line client installed too. That's where we're going to create our database, and we are going to link the two and send data to the database and view it from there. So let's get started. So before you go any further, you have to open up a folder on the desktop. Now my folder is here, my app. So if I show you inside, it's empty. This folder is empty, you can see here. So this is where I'm going to be keeping my project. Right now, if you've finished creating the folder on the desktop, come and open up your Visual Studio. Now this is where we're going to create our interface from. Now I'm going to be using Visual Studio 2013. If you have any latest version, it will be working the same. So we come to File, File, New, then you click Project. You choose Project. So now we are going to create our own project. You're going to name your project and you're going to be saving it in the folder you've created on the desktop. So I'm going to choose Visual Studio 2012. Come to empty web application, then we name the app. So for this case, I can call it app. You can call it anything you want. Then you browse before you save. Come to desktop, look for my folder, which was my app here. Then I select the folder. So then I can press OK. So now we are saving into our folder on the desktop. Now it should take some little time and open up, and we get started. Still loading. ASP.NET is going to help us create here we're going to be able to create applications, web applications with ease. Those of you who are used to HTML and CSS, here the code will be doing itself. You'll be dealing with the design by. So let's get started. You come to app. This is our project. Right click, come to add, then new item. This should be doing it. Now here we're going to create a master page, which is going to be serving all the other pages with default data. You understand me when I say the word default. So you come here, you choose web forms master page. This is going to be our master page. So you rename it with the extension .master. So here I'm going to call it main. It's going to be my main page. Then I press add. Now it should load and my master page should be ready. So now my master page has appeared. Now it should be ready. If you come to the design down here, design, it will show you the design part. Then source will be showing you the code. So the design should show us the what? The actual design, the way it's looking. Now the good thing with ASP.NET, ASP.NET helps us to create web applications with ease, not compared to HTML5, where HTML5 you have to be writing each and every part of the code. Here it will be doing itself, and it will be quick and easier. So here, this is our design part. If you come back to source, this is the code that made the other part. So this is our content placeholder. So you come above the content placeholder at title, press enter, then come back to the design, come to table, insert table, choose the rows and columns you want to be. you want to use. I want, like, let me use 88. Then press OK if you're done. So this is our table. Our table has come. Now this is our content placeholder. Now this is our table. So I'm going to be creating something simple to get you introduced. It's not going to be that complicated. Let me see. Highlight there. Right click, modify, merge cells. We have merged all these cells into one. So if I take you back to my source code, you see that the table has created itself. The table has created itself, and the cells have been merged here with a column span of 8. Those of you who are good with HTML, you understand what we mean by column span. Now we come back to design. So here I'm going to put my text. For example, it's my app. I can do anything I want with my app. The first thing I say is that welcome to my website. Simple thing. Welcome to my app. That's something simple. Shouldn't take you long. Now I've welcomed you to my app. So we are going to deal with this text. Let's come here and bold it. Control B, bold it. Then we can italicize it. Control I. Then you can also underline it. Now you can do lots and lots of things to this. So now let's put our text into the center. I have to highlight it. Come here, justify center. Come to default. Choose 36 font size. So now our text is clear. Let's change the background color and the text color. To change the text color, come to foreground. Let's choose something like blue. Is that blue? So let's choose that. Then come back for the background color. Choose something dark like this. Now you can see how you can deal with text, background, and foreground color with ASP.NET. You can still create something better than this. You have to be creative in a sort of a way. So we're still on our master page. So the next thing we have to do, let us create some links. Let's create some links here. Let's first create a column span. Right click, modify, merge cells. So let's create some links here. For example, like home. Let's say, for example, like home. Next you can say something like contacts. Lastly, you can say like something about us. You can create as many links as you want according to your system or your application. For this case, let me create these 3. Now we can come down here and let us create a copyright. Something that says like copyright like 2022, something like that, to show something good. Let us create some copyright down here. Have to merge these cells. Right click, modify, then merge some cells. So you can say something like copyright, it depends on what you want, 2022. So we have to put the copyright symbol. So let's come to our code, source code. Where is it? We are here. So those of you who are good with HTML, you know what I'm going to do like this, then write copy, then terminate. This should do it. Oh, sorry. This should do it. Shift. So come back to our design. Now you see the symbol for copyright. So let's put this in the center. Highlight it. Come back here. Justify center. So this is how we have created our master page. So let's put this also in the center. Our links should be in the center too. We can increase on the make them bold, increase on the font size something like 18. We can underline them, size and underline them. We can do more to the thing. So be creative, and if you're done with everything, come down here and carry the content placeholder and put it wherever you want. This is where you're going to be putting your code for different. This is where you're going to be putting your code for different pages. So let's modify these cells and we merge them. So this is done. Now this is our master page, and this is how it's looking like. You can add background color to the whole page. You can do all sorts of things to this page, but for this case I'm just doing it like this, taking you through it, and you can start coding it yourself. So let us create child pages out of the master page. So we come back, we're going to create the home page. We're going to create a home page and we're going to deal with forms in it. So come back this side, Solution Explorer, add new item, click existing item, come back to app in the Solution Explorer, right click, come to add new item. So here we are not going to choose the web forms master page, but rather we're going to choose the web forms with master page. So come up here, it's this side, web form with the master page. This is what we are going to do. So this one we're going to name it home. Let's say home, and we press add. So we have to choose the master page is going to be getting default data from, which is main.master. Then press OK. So now it should be loading. Now this is our home page, which is getting data from the main master page. If we check the design view of the home page, it should look like this. So it's getting data from the master page, and for it you cannot access it here. You can only add data with the content placeholder. If you want to make changes on what you created behind in the master page, you have to go back to the master page, then create it this side. But when you're on the home page, you can only deal with the content placeholder. So this is how we do what? We use ASP.NET with the Visual Studio. So for example here, let's deal with some forms. Let's sign up here. What else? Let's ask for username. Let's ask for username. Let's ask for gender, which is sex. Sorry. Let's ask for email. Then lastly, we ask for the password. Now for this case, we are going to use email as our primary key because it's advisable someone to have only someone to have an email which is personal, not for everybody, but an email has to be personal. So let's come back here. This heading should be something big. Let's put it something like 24. Let's bold it. Let's underline it. Italicize it. Don't underline it. Then bold it. Let's drop it in the center. And we're good to go. So let's put all our form also in the center. Our form should also be in the center. So come here and just by center. The password too has to be in the center. So let's drop it in the center. So we have to put input in text boxes to allow the user to interact with the system. So come to toolbox this side. They should load here. So here we're going to get the text boxes we are going to be using and the buttons we are going to be using. So we come here, choose the text box and drop it. Then we can copy this very one. Right click, copy. Come to email, paste it. Come to password and then paste it. Now for the case of gender or sex, we are going to ask for a radio button or drop down list. We're going to ask for a drop down list. So let's go back to the toolbox. Let's look for the drop down list. We carry it to bring it here. So let's edit some details in this drop down list. Press edit, press add. We have male. We have male and female for this case. We have male. Press OK. Then edit again. Let's add female. So let's also add female. Press OK. So this is how it should look. Now we're going to add some buttons. The button that's going to send data, the button that's going to delete. But for this case, let us only deal with the button that's going to send data to the database. So let's come here, ask for the button. Here it is. Then drop it here. Should be here. Oh. Let's drop the button. You can copy it. Let's cut it. Click here. Then paste it. So this is how our form should look like. Now we're going to edit some details. This button, we edit. So we're going to edit this button. The text should be something like send. The text should be something like send. So let us name these text fields. You can add on their length. Add on their width, add on the width, make it look something nice. So now we come to each text box, come this side, we change the text box ID. For example, this one I'll call it A. Come to the one of sex, a drop down list, I'll call it B. The one for email, I'll call it C. And the one for password, I'll call it D. I'll call it D. So now let me create my database where we're going to be sending the data. Now I'll call for MySQL command line client. Right now I'm going to create my database. For this case, I'm going to call it app database. App. So my query is okay. Now I'm going to use, in all the databases, I'm going to use app. So database change. Now in app I want to create a table. Create table, user, with the following fields. The first field is going to be username, because it's going to be receiving work from my form, and it's going to be variable character, which is varchar, with a length of 20, and it's going to be not null, comma. The second one is sex. It's also going to be varchar, length of 20, not null, comma, email, and for my case email is going to be my primary key. It's going to be also varchar. It's going to be with a length of 20, and it's going to be the primary key. The primary key, comma, and lastly is the password, which is also variable character 20, and it's also not null. So I close, then I terminate. Press enter, query OK. So I can say describe user, the table I've just created. Then it shows me what I've just created. Now it's showing me that email is my primary key and all of them are not null. So in my case here, I've finished creating my database and my table, so I should link my database to my interface I've created so that I can start sending work to the database. So let's go back to the interface and start connecting the two. So now I'm going to connect my app to my database that I've created in MySQL command line client. I'll come to app here. I'll come to app, right click, add, then come to references. So I'm going to reference my app. So I'll come to browse, come to my local disk C, program files, look for MySQL. I'll look for MySQL here. Then I'll come to MySQL connector, assemblies 2.0, version 2.0. Version 2.0. Then I'll choose MySQL data.dll. Then I'll press add. So then I'll go back to browse again. I'll come back here, version 4.0, MySQL data entity. Then I also press add. These are the two I needed. So then I press OK. So now we are connecting my app to my database. So now I'll come to web.config. Now this is my configuration. This is the XML language, extendable markup language. So I'll come to my code. If you don't have the code, you'll copy and paste what I'll be writing. You'll pause the video, then copy and paste what I'll be writing. For those of you who have this code, so now I'll come to my code. Then I'll come to the configuration. Those of you who do not have this code, you'll pause the video and copy what I'm going to do. But if you have the code, you go and reference to this. I'll put this code in my GitHub account. Those of you who need it, you'll get it from Technical Alphus. So copy the connection string up to where it ends. Then come back to the code. Things. First and foremost is the name of your name of your app. You change it here. My app was, I named it my app. So everything will be the same. If you have a password, you'll put it here. If you have a password, but for my case, there's no password. And here you put the name of your database. My database was app. We together. So here we have finished connecting my database to my application. So the next thing we are going to do is we are going to deal with the button that's going to be sending data to the database. So you come here to the button send, double click on it. Now it will take you to its code, its source code. Now here, up here, there's some two elements that are missing here, so we're going to copy them and paste them there. Come back to the code. Come back to the code. Then they're here. So with this comment, you copy and come up here and paste it. So these two codes were missing, now they have been put. So the next code we are going to copy, we are going to paste it here. It's going to help us to connect to our web.config. Now we come back to the code. The code is here up to here. So we copy this, come back to our app, then paste it. So we're going to edit some few items. For example, the catalog, which is the database. My database was app. So if you have a password, you have to put it, but for my case there's no password, so everything is set. Now the next thing we are going to deal with is the send button. So now come back to the home page. Now we are going to deal with the send button so that it can send data into the database. Let's get the code. The code starts from here. Keep coming up to here. We copy it. Then we come back. We double click on send, which is our button. Then we paste it. So now what we are going to do, we are going to paste the code here. And we are going to change the connection string to the same we had put in our web.config, which is my app. And this should be a comment. Let us index this. Press tab. Now we are going to insert into. Now the database name is app, and my table was user, not client. User. It was user. And my fields are not exactly this, so you have to put the fields that you put, comma. The second was sex, comma. Comma. The third was email. And the last one was password. So my values were A, B, C, and D. So the rest are not needed. Starting from here. I have to remove all the names that I did not use. I used for the field of username I used the A, sex I used the B, email I used the C, and password I used the D. So those are the ones I'm going to use. The rest are not needed. And if our query is successful, it should respond that your data has been saved successfully. Your data has been saved successfully, and this should be able to do it. So let's go and try out and see whether it's running.